Welcome in, everyone, to Barely Educated. We are here to talk Bears Lions and the return of Justin Fields, saving us all from the agent craziness temporarily, at least. Chris, how are you?
I'm not bad. It's Friday, always a good day, right? This is the last day before
True.
Thanksgiving break, so it's pretty quiet here today, actually, at work.
Yeah, I'm not at work. I am in Chicago
Oh,
at the
so
Hilton
lucky.
on Michigan.
Yeah.
So come say hello, listeners.
Yeah, and what are you there for?
I'm on
What
a
is it?
remote
Live remote.
archaeology conference.
Yeah. So you dig it? Okay, I got my bad joke out of
Yeah,
the way.
stop it, stop it.
No more bad jokes
So
the
I
rest of
will
this episode.
see. We'll see cousin Nate tomorrow and
Cousin Nate!
Sunday,
Oh, excellent.
and Buddy Brian.
And Buddy Brian. Are you guys going to watch the game together?
Yeah, now last time I was up here, we streamed you in
Yeah.
to watch the Matt Nagy Bears lose to Huntley and the Ravens, not Lamar Jackson and the Ravens.
Ooh. Eek. Yes.
But I think the way it's going to have to be now is we're actually going to be out and about to watch it because we got to figure out where we can meet halfway, and
Yeah. I actually have.
situations have changed with babies involved, and we're not actually
Yes.
doing this at someone's house, so I don't think it's
Right.
going to work to stream you in this time.
That's fine. I actually have a concert that would make me miss the second half of the game anyway, so that works out just fine.
Well, aren't you blessed getting out of this beatdown?
But I want to see Justin play again. So maybe I'll have my phone on the
Yeah.
music stand, you know. Well, just
Maybe,
miss an entrance.
he says.
Oops. Yeah. But yeah. So
You're over
that's
there
great.
composing. I mean,
Well, I'm playing trumpet this time, so yeah. But yeah, tell them
I
hello
think
for
better.
me. Give them a
Will do.
manly straight hug from me.
What?
Okay.
Oh my.
I'll be sure to have them fire off some hot takes about the announcers, though.
It's
While we're
yes,
we can
please
hear.
do. Yes, yeah.
Or is that your job?
They can do it for me since I'm out of commission.
So we'll get to the game. I mean, I think the analysis of the game is fairly straightforward, but there are some interesting things there. But I think this week's main topic, from what I could tell, I've been gone since Wednesday, but is the coaches' comments and the return of Fields. That's obviously the big story. What did you think of Eberflus when he was asked if 7 weeks is enough time to show that Fields can be the quarterback to lead the Bears to the Super Bowl? He said, quote, I think 7 weeks is enough time to show consistency, and be the high performer we expect him to be. I know he has had some good performances along this year. Certainly the last two have been solid, and we expect consistency out of all positions. First of all, before I get to you, did he actually prepare to address a question for once? There's no weird Matt Eberflusisms in that. Did he finally figure out, I bet they asked me about this one particular thing today? Right. Like, this is a real answer. Whatever you think of the answer, at least it's not the mealy-mouthed nonsense we get so often. Like, did he finally prepare for a question?
Wow,
But your reaction to
wow.
what he said, he thinks 7 weeks is enough, and he wants to see essentially consistency.
Yeah, I think that's actually a fair answer to expect that Fields is going to be good, and that if he's going to be the guy going forward, he's got to be consistently good. He can't have good game, bad game, good game, bad game, good game, bad game. It's got to be.
Yeah, I've said it before.
Yeah.
The roller coaster is it's too strong.
Yes.
The bad games are just too bad. We cannot have games where we struggle to hit 150 yards passing.
Yeah, right.
And I actually, for once, really like what Matt Eberflus said, and I feel really weird. I'm going to check to make sure the sky's not falling here out the window. Like, usually I absolutely hate the things he says. This is totally reasonable.
Agreed.
And I'm sorry, but in year 3, by the end of it, you should have at least a consistent ability to perform if you're the guy moving forward instead of these huge peaks and valleys.
Mm-hmm.
This is not at all unreasonable. Sorry for the double negative, but I'm with Flus on this. He does need to show consistency. And, the schedule is weird because it's like 4 fairly tough games and then 3 much easier ones. So that could be trouble in terms of like the reactions and how this thing could snowball. But Yeah, I think if he plays like he played the first couple weeks of the season or against the Vikings, let's not pretend he was doing anything at all good against the Vikings. That was
Right.
a disaster. He was awful that. Then I'm 100% replacing him in the draft. I know people don't want to hear it, but if he plays even 80% of what he did against, say, the Commanders and the first 3 quarters against the Broncos, it's a much tougher decision. I'd also like to see him finish games better. They should have beat the Broncos. He's why they didn't. Not the pick. I don't care about the pick. I care deeply about the fumble touchdown.
Yep. Agreed.
Because the number one problem remains holding the ball too long.
Mm-hmm. That's how he got hurt.
To me, the sacks are more problematic than anything else because they lead to turnovers and injuries and derailed drives, which you can only say the latter. I mean, you can't say the first thing necessarily about the injuries part. I mean, about interceptions. I mean, they can, of course, if you make a tackle or something, but I think the sacks are actually worse on a certain level because of how often he fumbles with them.
Yes.
And there's no one back if they get a clean recovery. I'd much rather throw an interception 20, 40 yards down the field than have a strip sack.
Yeah, that's basically a punt.
And more to the point, the thing he has to, the main thing he has to demonstrate is that he will get the ball out on time. And that has a lot of layers to it. Read the defense, knowing the offense, trusting his line. There's a lot of layers to it. But that's the problem that is like that's the visual part of all these other symptoms. They all come out in this whole holding the ball forever. And it's also how he got hurt.
Do you agree that the offensive line cannot be an excuse going forward based on how they've played the last several weeks?
So glad you brought that up.
Oh,
so
excellent.
There was a tweet the other day looking at the last time he played the Lions. They lost 41-10.
Mm-hmm.
His line was in shambles. His receivers were Claypool, St. Brown, Pettis, I think was the leading receiver in the game. It was a joke. And you know what, though? This offense is not that bad.
Right. Not even close.
When they're not getting productivity now, it's going to be because of the play caller or the quarterback. The line is actually good, people. Braxton Jones, when he doesn't commit penalties, is a good pass blocker now. He's always been a good run blocker. Wright looks like a 10-year bookend. The guards should be good. Davis coming back. And that just leaves center. And yes, I want a new center in the offseason. You should be able to mitigate having one position not be good. You know what I mean? Like 4 out of the positions are good. You don't have a trash line.
Right.
You do need to kind of like work around that weakest link kind of stuff. But I agree. The line should not be an excuse. And so many of his sacks are on him.
Mm-hmm.
He's had one game where he didn't get sacked and 2 more where he only took 1 in like 25 starts. That's pathetic. And that's not just the line. I mean, yeah, those were some dreadful lines. I'm not going to rewrite history there either. But sometimes the ball's just got to come out. And there's going to be a couple of plays in this game where somebody on the Lions comes flying through because the Bears miss an assignment or Hutchinson's just good. You can have a couple against the Lions because they're good. You can't have 6 or 7.
Right.
And if he has a ton of sacks, some of them will be on him. You just know.
Right. Let me.
So to your question, yeah, I don't think they're an excuse moving forward. Do you?
No, I
don't. Excuse is basically dead.
I agree. 100%.
Just like the weapons. Cole Kmet is a good tight end. DJ Moore is an excellent receiver. Mooney's a good 3. There's sort of a gap not having a 2. But the weapons are fine.
Yeah.
And they run the ball well, which is supposed to make the QB's life easier. So why doesn't it?
Yeah, and they're getting the rookie, what's his name from Cincinnati? Nate. I forget his name, but the rookie. I like him too. The guy that was wide open that beat
him. Oh, Tyler Scott?
Oh, yeah, Tyler Scott. Where'd I get Nate from?
You suck, Chris.
I have cousin Nate on the brain.
Cousin Nate!
Wide receiver, cousin Nate. Oh, thank you, Tyler Scott. Yes. I like what they've been having him do kick returns, which has been a nice, refreshing change as well. But
why is
weapons...
Velus Jones still on the roster if he's not returning kicks? What are we doing with Velus Jones? Just pretending we made an okay pick and not admitting that he's terrible?
That's got to be it, right? Poles hasn't been afraid to. Well, he hasn't done it with a draft pick yet, has he? Like cut a bad draft pick. He's only cut bad trade or. Yeah, maybe it's all Poles' pride. Who knows? All right,
I don't know. I do think you don't tend to give up on a 3rd rounder in year 2. That's like just the bottom line. If he was a 5th rounder,
Yeah, but you
But he
know,
should based on his play.
he's
That's the
got
only criteria. But
cinder
understand
blocks
like
for
the
hands.
pattern of the league.
Yeah.
He
All right,
does.
let me give you a.
And you go ahead.
Can I give you a field scenario here? Tell me what you think. With the 7 games
Yeah, and then I
left.
want to come back to other comments this week. But yeah, go ahead.
Yes, I got coach comments too. But since we're talking about Fields and how he has to
Sure.
perform, with the 7 games left, I will allow for one bad game, one so-so game, but then I got to have 2 good and 3 great games on top of that. If
I
I'm
like
gonna,
it. I think that's a decent standard.
yeah,
So 5 of 7 qualify as at least good. Is that consistent enough? I would say yes. But like he's not gonna have a good game against the Browns defense, I don't think. No, pretty much no one does. Pretty much.
right.
I mean, Lamar had a bunch of plays, but he also had a pick six. You know what I mean? Like even Lamar
right
was productive, but not his usual brilliant. That's a great defense. No Deshaun Watson though, so that's actually
No
an interesting,
Deshaun Watson.
ugly matchup now.
That changes.
And you got to figure one of the Lions games is maybe ugly. I feel like Sunday will probably be ugly, honestly, between the rust and how he tends to hold the ball too long, even when he's not rusty, and being on the road against a good front, if not necessarily great back end of the defense. It wouldn't surprise me if Sunday was one of the bad ones.
Yeah.
5 out of 7. What would that? Yeah. I think that's fair. I think that's at least a minimum. If you can't hit that, we do still have the problem.
Right. That's
and I think he's replaced if he doesn't. Like I don't think we should sit here and be pie in the sky about it.
Yeah. And
if they're picking in the top 2 and he doesn't go off, he's getting replaced in the draft.
3 of those 5 have to be Washington, how he performed in Washington level for me.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And as much as that game was fun, how much of that was just DJ?
Right. Yeah. Fair.
Like it's kind of hard. But like when the receiver has 240 yards and a bunch of them are spinning out and taking it to the house, you're like, did the QB play that great? He played good. I'm not saying he didn't, but most of that, or at least a decent chunk of it, was more. Now you did have Mooney with 2 big drops, would have made it even better day for Fields. So he did play well. But yeah, if you want 3 games like that, that's a high standard, and that's what I want. I want us to hold the whole operation, coaches, Fields, all of it, to a higher standard than some of the fans do. Or some of the media does.
Right.
Or most importantly, the Bears in the past have. Yeah, it's hard not to say that word now. Right. You've ruined a simple word.
I know, and I find I do it all the time. And another one for me is, I say,
or why. Nagy ruining the word why. Because of finding the whys.
I'm not an idiot.
That Washington game, the yards, yes, definitely I would give those more or a lot of that credit to DJ Moore. But those are some good throws that he made. Like
a lot of that throw at the end that clinched it was awesome. People are like, it almost was intercepted. I'm like, no, it was high pointed. DJ said it was perfect. That was a great ball. People got that wrong.
And we saw that not every quarterback can do that when we saw Bagent in there. In his cannon.
Yes.
Anyway.
Okay, so that can transition us to Fields' comments about how he did watch and learn from Bagent.
Yes.
So from the man himself. And it sounded like he was talking about the quick stuff and footwork. And then there was that clip of him, and he was flying back with his footwork from practice.
Yes.
It went viral. I know we sent it. I was like, this is what I'm talking about when I said the one thing I wanted him to learn from Bagent was like how quick he hit his drops. And I'm like, has he done this in practice before? You know how they always have to scrub the training camp footage? You only get to have it posted for like an hour or 2 or whatever. I sure don't remember him having it that quick. So I'm hoping that's some reason for optimism. Because I'm telling you, that drop looked like molasses the last few games. And that definitely screws up the timing.
Absolutely.
And then Bagent came in. To me, it was jarring how quickly he hit his back foot. He can't do anything else. In my opinion, that's NFL caliber right now. But he did do that. And I was like, Fields actually needs to take a page from him on that.
And maybe, is it
so
possible
that Fields has the arm, but not some of these other things?
Is that what Chris Collinsworth meant? Is that all that he meant? Or, because if that's the case.
Oh, who can tell? Collinsworth doesn't even know. You could ask him Monday morning and he'd be like, I don't know. Like, just saying stuff. Okay, and he's being fed maybe by Getsy or something, but I don't want to rehash that. It was a specific enough comment to definitely raise eyebrows. But speaking of Getsy, he said on what quarterback consistency looks like, it always starts with taking care of the ball. And I got to say, I hate that.
Yes, that made me bristle as well.
I hate that. I know it sounds silly to not agree with him because obviously turnovers are a big predictor to who wins a game. But I think they keep coaching the aggression out of these guys. Look at Bagent the last game versus early. He's, for whatever it's worth, he was trying to sling it. Then you get to the Saints game, and it's like not attempting. Or after the Saints game, I mean, not attempting anything because he had so many turnovers. And I still want my QBs to be aggressive. I don't think it starts with turning the ball over.
It does not.
I think that consistency is making plays on a consistent basis when you most need them, not playing to manage the game. You guys are not the 2000 Ravens. What are we talking about here?
Right.
Do the turnovers need to come down? Sure. But I don't want the message to be don't turn it over because Justin Fields, I don't know if you saw this though, he like never throws it in the middle of the field. He's one of the lowest percentages of throwing in the middle of the field. And I think it's because he's worried about turnovers. And it's like the best QBs use the whole field. Like I hate this. And I feel like they're coaching aggression out of
that is where his interceptions have been in the middle of the field. Now, Aaron Rodgers never.
Also, why I hate hits.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to catch up.
No, it's all right. It's all right. Aaron Rodgers never turned the ball over, really. So, is that why Getsy thought Rodgers was great because he didn't turn the ball over? Is that possible?
Or is it just coach speak? It's typical, they always talk about turnovers, so I don't know how much to read into it.
I mean, but if you talk that way about your backup quarterback, fine. But
yeah, I want my starter to be a killer. I want him to keep being aggressive. I want him to, like you saw like the Stroud numbers, and then you look at some of like the next gen, like where they chart the completions, and it's down the field, down the field, down the field, down the field, middle of the field, between the hashes, outside throws. All of it is there, and Justin can make all the throws. That is not the arm is not the problem.
Right.
So I just kind of hated reading that because I was like, great, now he's going to get out there and question himself and sit there and hold the ball forever instead of letting it rip.
Yep, I had the same thought yesterday. Like, no, that is not it. And if you look at the Monday night game this last week, Buffalo. Who did Buffalo play Monday? I know they lost, but
they did lose.
Who was that?
And they should not have lost. Denver.
Yes, yeah, Denver had to fight and claw and scratch for every point they got. Josh Allen was bad that night, but they still almost pulled it out just because he made a couple of great plays. That's what I want my quarterback.
Josh Allen neutered is no longer Josh Allen at all. Like,
right?
You're not
exactly.
If you tell him to quit taking risks, you might as well not start him.
Yeah.
Because what makes him special is his ability to take risks, and sometimes it will burn you.
Yeah, but Buffalo was never.
But most of the time, over the years, it's worked.
Yeah, they were never.
And they would have won if it weren't for a pass interference left on a short throw, which the league has got to look at that. By the way. Quit rewarding crappy passes.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's probably my biggest gripe in the NFL right now.
That's how Green Bay got one of their wins this year. So.
Each game.
Yep. Right.
Okay, so we have a game to analyze. I don't think we have much else to say about Fields. I'm rooting for him. I'm very skeptical that it'll happen.
The thing is, I want Fields or whoever the Bears quarterback is to be like Josh Allen in the sense of you are never out of a game because of that guy. Whereas if Denver was down a touchdown or 2 field goals or something like that, there's no way they're going to be able to come back, right? They don't have the quarterback that's going to be able to, well,
they didn't last year. He's pretty good this year.
Yeah. Okay.
How about Green Bay? Green Bay down 10 without pass interference calls.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So you know what I'm saying.
A ton of teams. I mean, quarterback play is down league wide. There's a bunch of them hurt. There's a lot to that. But yeah, I definitely agree that.
Yeah, I want the quarterback that you're never out of.
Demonstrate consistency, then you're gonna have to move on because you're still trying to find that piece.
Yeah.
All right, Bears Lions.
Yes, let's do it.
Sorry, I'm running out of time with the conference here.
Do it.
So I think we all know Detroit's quite a bit better. I think I used to joke about how they were the rivals, not the Packers. Now that's actually back to the Packers because both the Bears and Packers stink. Lions offense, 5th overall in passing, 4th in rushing, 6th in points. It's just good. Bears are very susceptible to the pass, very good against the run. So, yeah, advantage Detroit. When we have the ball against their defense, they're really good against the run. And of course, the Bears are good running.
Yes, they are.
Advantage Detroit, probably, because when we have to pass the ball, it's not always pretty. So they do give up a lot of yards. The Lions do give up yards overall there. I just don't think the Bears are even remotely ready to go in there and win a game like this. Coming back after a month. Not. I mean, it's so unlikely. At home, you might be tempted, but on the road.
No, and the fact that they have not played well against a good team in 2 years under Eberflus.
Yeah, that's the biggest reason. One of the biggest reasons to can the coach. They don't. Whenever the coaching matters, he doesn't have it for you.
Yep.
But Cousin Nate had pointed out this to me.
Cousin Nate, yes.
Quote, wow, I didn't realize how dreadful the Lions' schedule was. 1 win in 3 games versus above 500 teams, and that was week 1. So they've lost to the other 2 above 500 teams they played, and otherwise they've beaten up on bad teams. Well,
they're gettable.
Here comes another bad.
Yes.
Yeah, they might. Yeah, but we're one of the bad teams.
We are one of the bad teams. It's true. It's true. Okay. Yeah. I'm looking at like
Detroit, and I'll say 34-23. I think the Bears will get some movement for a little bit, but I think this will be one of those games where the defense looks bad again after its nice little run. But come on, quality of opponent is a big factor in the defense's little run. This is going to look more like the Chargers game than it does,
Carolina.
The Panthers or somebody. I mean, beating Carolina by 3 should not inspire confidence, people.
Right. I was going to say 34-24. So sounds like we are in lockstep on what we expect from that.
Yep.
A couple touchdowns, but they just can't until they can actually prove they can stop a good offense. There's no reason to think they're going to hold them under 30, in my opinion.
All right, the other game that we care about, Dallas at Carolina. Chris, how does it feel to be in a position to be rooting for Dallas to win a football game?
Would you shut up, man?
Oh, well, it's for the good of the Bear, so I'll take it. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
The pain on his face, everyone.
I am wounded.
Yeah, I think we all know what we should expect of the outcome here. Of course, Dallas got beat by Arizona earlier, so I don't know. How did they lose that game?
Yeah,
Carolina's bad.
The Cowboys have been better on offense than I thought, though, just based on the past. So
they're a legit contender. Dak's playing really well. Actually,
their defense is really good. I like Dallas defense.
Yes, it is. I don't know if we're yet to where we got to pay attention to the other tanking teams, but the Giants are horrible. They're a real threat. They do play 4-6 Washington this week. You're like, ooh, maybe they can steal it. Not according to Vegas, who has Washington favored by 9. 4-6 team favored by 9.
Yeah, I think the Giants are definitely in the tank from here on out, and I don't know if Dable survives though. Does he? I don't know.
They made the playoffs last year, and they got so many injuries. Maybe. Man, there are some wildly hilarious spreads. 13.5, 11.5. That's Miami, Vegas, and then San Francisco, Tampa.
Maybe they
doesn't look like a totally entertaining slate of games. Pittsburgh, Cleveland's probably your best matchup.
Dable inherited Daniel Jones too. Maybe they let him try his own quarterback before they
get his own guy.
Yeah, right, exactly.
All right, the other division games, which we always pick them. Chargers at the Packers.
Oh, come on, Herbert, do your thing.
Yeah, show us what a real QB looks like.
That should be easy win for the Chargers.
As opposed to Love.
With 2 red zone interceptions.
3 wins. Are we still in? When can we go back to rooting against them? Because they will be out of the tank QB territory. They got to win a couple more still, right?
Maybe, yeah. I just can't do it. I can't do it. I can't root for
there are limits. He will root for the Cowboys. He will not root for the Packers. Okay.
Yes, that's a
Sunday night.
Too far.
Minnesota at Denver. We're going to have back-to-back Josh Dobbs type games in prime time. Sunday night this week and Monday night against the Bears next week. Minnesota at Denver.
Does that come down
At
to
some point,
earth a little
Cinderella
bit?
slipper's going to fall off.
Yeah,
Even though I
agreed.
love the story, I love that he's an astrophysicist and like actually super smart.
He's a
It's
rocket
cool.
scientist, yeah.
I
Yeah.
feel like Denver's starting to click a little bit.
They are, yeah.
So I'll take Denver. The defense is like, if I wonder what their defensive numbers look like if they didn't have the completely comical game against the Dolphins, because that was such an aberration.
Right.
I think they beat them. It's in Denver. Give me the Broncos.
Okay.
In a game I probably won't watch.
And I agree with you that the Dobbs story has been great, but that can't be sustained. It just can't. I mean, he was with Arizona, right? Didn't they get him from the Cardinals? And
I mean, really excellent QBs have duds, like eventually.
Yeah, we've seen Mahomes have a dud or two this year. Yeah.
Okay, so the Sunday slate's only so-so, at least in terms of the matchups on paper, which means there'll be like 7 games decided by a field goal.
I was going to say,
look like an idiot.
That's what we thought last week.
But the Monday game is a doozy.
Yes.
The Monday game is a doozy.
Yes. Chiefs Eagles.
Eagles at the Chiefs. Super Bowl preview and rematch.
Preview and it definitely rematch, but you think preview too, huh?
Potential preview. Well, I mean, look how many. So like the Bengals were on a roll. Now half the team's hurt, and they lost 2 in a row, and they're basically out.
Did you see
Niners got to stay healthy, and when they're not healthy, they fall apart. Who's better than Philly in the NFC? Nobody. Yeah. Who's better than KC in the AFC?
We're gonna say KFC.
Yeah,
nobody better than KFC, my friend.
I don't think the Chiefs' offense is that good, even with Mahomes and Kelsey.
I'm not an idiot.
But their defense is playing great, and Mahomes plus a defense is probably enough.
Yeah, and we know why they're.
So yeah, I think there's we might be running it back in the Super Bowl. I mean, the biggest reason to say we aren't is it just doesn't ever happen.
Yeah, it's
very rarely.
Yep.
But I feel like they legitimately are the most likely teams to have the 1 seed, and then we go.
Yeah.
Give me the Eagles in the barely upset at Kansas City. I just think they're better all around.
I agree.
And they got the revenge factor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with you. I'm picking up what you're putting down there. They just look more all around balanced, I guess. Yeah. You just don't know what the Chiefs are gonna do now, except underachieve. That's what it seems like.
They're gonna end up like and then like the last 3 weeks of December, they're gonna score 40 a game and all of a sudden figure out
the
whole thing. And you're like, oh, there they are. But I'm not seeing it just yet. And I think the team as good as Philly beats them.
Going back to the Bengals for a second, did you see the shot of Chase on the sideline after the oh my, just the look on his face.
I had gotten back to my room like just in time to fire up the game. And I was like, what did I say? I think I said players always know first.
Yes, you did. That's what you texted.
Yeah. That is a team going, our season's over. And they're not even remotely wrong to be thinking it. I mean, maybe try not to express it with the body language, but I totally get it.
Oh, his body language.
Injuries have crushed them, and they're done.
There was I don't know if you saw the pass Chase caught. He caught it inbounds, but he was pushed out. And it was a third down pass. And when he got up, just the way he was walking, too, you could read in his body language, like, we're done. We're toast. This season's over. Poor Bengals. One more question for you.
Yes, go.
You mentioned at the beginning of this show liking what Eberflus had to say about Fields, and then not liking Getsy's quote about protecting the ball. Just this once. So, Getsy, he's the villain, isn't he? He's the Senator Palpatine in all of this.
He's going to be the scapegoat if they keep Flus too, right?
Right, exactly, yeah.
It'll be Fields and Getsy gone, not Flus in that scenario, which I do not want.
Yeah, and my question is Getsy willing to commit career suicide over these last 7 games? Because for his career, he needs Fields to ball and be great. Otherwise, his career might be done.
I don't think he's that sinister. I just think he's incompetent. Like, I don't need to look to like a bigger conspiracy. I think he's just bad at his job, and he really thinks what he calls will work, and then it doesn't, and he isn't smart enough, or he's too stubborn to adjust. Not trying to derail Fields. He's just a bad match for him, and he's not going to call. He's only going to call the little things he knows. And it's back to the Rodgers thing, right?
That's exactly what I was
Stop hiring people that Rodgers made look good.
But both Getsy and Nathaniel Hackett have been exposed, haven't they? Yeah.
Yeah. You need somebody who makes a young QB look good.
Yes. Let's grab that guy from the Texans next year. Yeah.
Whoa.
All right, let's get you out of here
that's
so
a whole
you can.
Crazy thing down there.
It sure is. All right, you got to go to some things, right? At your conference here. All right, I'll wrap it up there.
And lunch.
Ooh, yes, excellent. Thanks everyone for listening to Barely Educated. We are on the web at barely_educated on Twitter and Threads, YouTube. Send us an email at barelyeducatedpod@gmail.com. We would love to hear from you. And check out our website, buymeacoffee.com/barely_educated. If you join our honor roll for $3 a month, we will send you a Barely Educated t-shirt. Check that out. We'd love to have you aboard. We'll talk to you next week sometime after the Lions game. And until then, bear down, my friends.
We work hard. We play hard.
It's my quarterback.
So you're telling me there's a chance?